back, everyone, to Spark Gaming Essentials. I'm your host, Julian.
And I'm Janessa, and we're here to break down some things that you need to know before purchasing some of May's newly released games.
Get ready for the end of the world again when Shin Megami Tensei III Nocturne HD Remaster releases in the US on May 25th. As the name suggests, this is a remaster of the much-loved JRPG Shin Megami Tensei III Nocturne, which first released outside of Japan in 2004. The game follows a Japanese high school student who survives a demonic revolution that destroys the Earth, setting it back to a chaotic state as great forces battle for their vision of how it should be remade. The unnamed protagonist plays a huge part in the world's future, and the decisions they make will ultimately shape whatever comes next. But the path across the wasteland that was once Tokyo is fraught with tons of turn-based demon encounters. The combat in the original game was famously punishing, and there were only two difficulties that basically amounted to hard and harder. Players could exploit weaknesses to gain extra turns, but the AI could do it too, and often pummeled human players right back. Thankfully, the HD remaster includes, along with updated visuals and voiceovers, a merciful difficulty setting that could make the story accessible to everyone who isn't the best tactician. If you're a fan of the Persona games, this should fit like Joker's glove, because Persona is, after all, a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. The combat is very familiar and features many recognizable enemies, but don't expect the social simulation aspect of Persona, because it turns out after the world ends, there's not much point in studying for your next big test. Shin Megami Tensei III Nocturne HD Remaster unleashes chaos on May 25th for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch.
One of the best games releasing in May is Biomutant. Well, that's my opinion, but also a lot of people's opinion, probably because it's been teasing us for 4 years since it was announced in 2017. This is an open-world action RPG game set in a post-apocalyptic setting where the world has been infected by a poisonous oil from underneath the ground and has decayed the Tree of Life. Players will have to restore the tree in a fully narrated, mission-based adventure as a customizable rodent/cat-like mutant creature. Even the combat style is an amalgamation between martial arts, gunplay, and magical abilities. It's very hack and slash, and I've gotta say I'm a fan of the comic book style exclamations during the fights. It's very Scott Pilgrim-esque. There's a large crafting component in the game when it comes to augmenting your guns in ridiculous ways from scrap that's dropped from bosses, which is way cool. I mean, you're in an apocalypse and you're going to use anything you can get your paws on. And since you're a mutant, this also includes switching out your biomechanical body parts if it'll help you reach certain areas. If you're a fan of post-apocalyptic scavengers like Fallout, but wish it had more colors than just brown, I think you should give Biomutant a shot. Horizon Zero Dawn is also similar, and one of my favorites, Immortals Phoenix Rising, comes close, especially since it's open world with a hilarious narrator. Biomutant releases on May 25th for Xbox One and PS4.
That same day marks the release of Kaze and the Wild Masks, so let us talk about this 2D platformer that's heavily inspired by the 90s. The game stars a rabbit named Kaze, who is on a mission to lift a curse after the Crystal Islands have been thrown into chaos. What does chaos look like? Turns out a lot of very angry vegetables. It's basically 6-year-old me's worst nightmare. The veggies steadily turn up the pressure on Kaze, who will have to jump, swim, climb, and spin across the game's 4 worlds. But even all that is not enough to get to the root of the problem. Some areas require Kaze to don one of 4 masks: one of a pouncing tiger, one of a soaring eagle, one of a deep-diving shark, and one of a lizard that's apparently in a big hurry because they can't stop running. Master the tight movement controls and 4 abilities, and you'll be able to beat the curse. Brazilian indie developer Pixel Hive cites games like Donkey Kong Country 2 and Super Mario World as major influences, in case the pixel art and sound design didn't squash any doubts. Still, the team was able to produce a game with a personality all its own. If you're like me and grew up on Donkey Kong Country, this game will scratch an itch that's been deep under your fur for decades. It's also sure to appease young gamers who maybe don't care at all about retro, but would like the cute bunny protagonist and a chance at veggie payback. Kaze and the Wild Masks lands on 3 platforms, the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch, on May 25th.
That'll do it for this episode of Spark.
If you'd like to know more about any of the games we talked about, you can head to GameStop.com or speak with a guest advisor, to whom I'd like to apologize for all the corny puns.
And the Spark playlist on GameStop's YouTube channel is a great resource if you'd like a snapshot of past releases. Thanks for watching.